All right, whoa. Let's get right to it. We've got a special guest here today. This is a story we talked about yesterday. I talked about on WTIC in Connecticut yesterday as well. This is a story of a concerned mom who had the audacity to try to stick up for her kid and really everybody else's kid too, because the classroom, the school library featured the book Julian is a Mermaid, in which this little boy Julian strips down a couple of times to his underwear and essentially learns to be his drag self. And Megan Watros said, I don't think I'm comfortable having my 7-year-old kid, second grader, read this or see these illustrations. And so, Megan, first of all, tell me, welcome to the show. We appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to create more awareness about this situation.
So, all right. First of all, when did you realize or find out that the book was around?
So before we get into the conversation, I just want to clarify that my family and I support the LGBTQ+ community, and I don't want my opposition to this story to be misinterpreted as not supporting the LGBTQ+ community. So I just want to clarify that. So I was made aware about this book at dinner the day after it was read to my daughter's class. We were at the dinner table and we were having our usual evening conversation. She's telling me about her day, her specials. I always ask her, what was your favorite thing that you learned? Who did you play with? Just the normal things you would be asking your daughter that you haven't seen all day, that you miss. And she starts telling me about this story, and she starts making comments that it is crystal clear there was a gender conversation. And then she goes on to ask her little brother questions, and she's never, ever talked like this, ever. And she tells me, she's making these comments. I don't really want to get specifically to what she said, but It was clear the conversation was had. And it just broke my heart. I could not believe what I was hearing. And I just go into this panic mode. What are these adults at the school talking to my 7-year-old about? When I tell you, I just feel like this is so inappropriate for an adult outside of my home, without my permission, without my knowledge, to broach a sensitive subject like this with a child. I mean, I don't understand it. It's heartbreaking. So I found out the day that the book was read to the class, and I want to say it was maybe like October 15th, because I had to go through the chain of communication, which took time. I spoke with the principal, I spoke with the director of elementary education, the assistant superintendent, and then I spoke with the superintendent. And then that all took time, like emails and scheduling. And then I finally went to the Board of Ed on October 25th, was my first time going to the Board of Ed.
So what was the feedback when you talked to the school officials? What was your feedback from them?
So it was really appalling. It was shocking. The principal was actually screaming at me. And you would think that this was her child that just had this inappropriate book read to.
The principal was screaming at you.
She's telling me, this is approved curriculum. It is under SEL, and your daughter cannot opt out. And I was like, excuse me. I was like, you do not have permission to talk to my daughter about these sensitive subjects. This is a slippery slope. When you start talking about changing someone's gender, where does it end? Because children are going to have questions. And how far does the conversation go? I mean, it's a very, very slippery slope. And I told her, I was like, no, I don't want her being exposed to any of this. My daughter is 7. She's a young, innocent 7-year-old. She believes in unicorns. She believes in the Tooth Fairy.
Right.
She's my little sweetheart.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I love her more than anything. And I mean, for her to be exposed to these types of ideas that are just completely, it doesn't make sense. And it's not the right time for her to learn these things.
Right. And
My
you as a
daughter,
parent want to be able to have these conversations with your own child in a way that you're comfortable with because you know your child best and you know
right,
what she's ready to hear and what she's not ready to hear. And I mean, I think that's what's so scary to me as a parent is this like broach of intimacy with your child in a way that's so disconcerting.
right. It's way too close. And something about my children, I'm raising them to be respectful, kind human beings. And I tell them it doesn't matter what a person looks like, it doesn't matter who they love. The only thing that matters is how they treat you. So, you know what? My daughter doesn't look at people who are dressed weird. Like, we've gone into New York City and, like, you see all kinds of
Of
people.
course.
She's not
Mhm.
staring at people like, what's wrong with that person? What's wrong with that one? Like, she just knows that people are different. And at her age, why does she need to know? Why does my daughter need to know that the clothes someone is wearing may not actually match what's under the clothes? Because that's really what we're talking about here. And it's inappropriate. It is so inappropriate. I mean, it doesn't need to be discussed at this age. These children, they look at people and they're just people. They don't need to like know these details that they'll learn as they get older. But they're 7. I mean,
And
it
Megan,
blows my mind.
the only thing, the thing is that only curriculum in literature is being brought to kids at this sophisticated level. Like right on TV for your daughter is Doc McStuffins, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, some other dumb shows, and you can tell the way people talk in there. It's always a little bit educational and a little bit fun, but it's a 7-year-old has a very simple mind. They're just learning the world. And this,
Right,
like any trans ideology, is a hell of a conversation at any age, you know?
right,
And it's
right,
also very fluid and always changing, and et cetera. And
right,
And people have a lot of different ways of approaching it. Different families might approach it differently, and that's okay. I mean, like, I think respecting differences goes in every direction, and especially with kids that young. I mean, when I was a kid, when they were doing sex education, which at that point in time was like telling you your body was going to start changing and you might have to start wearing deodorant, there was like an opt-in form for that because that was considered
right,
like not something the school should be talking about to your kid. And now it's these really deep and intimate conversations with kids who are even younger than that with no way to opt out. So
right.
so I mean, like, what
So,
happened next after you talked to the principal and they were
so,
yelling at you?
so I told her that I wanted to opt out, and she said that I could not opt out. And I said, well, who is the next person to speak with? And she said, well, it would be the director of elementary education. So I spoke to her, and it was only the principal that screamed at me. The rest
could
of
we
the
stop there for a
administration,
second, there, Megan? At any time did you think to yourself, I'm a grown woman. Who the hell is this person yelling at me? You're not. You're a civilian. You're not a prisoner of the school like the kids are.
right. Well, I was thinking that, and actually, I had another mom on the line. I actually
Oh,
emailed, so I emailed the entire class as soon as I became aware, which I really was conflicted about because I knew I was opening myself up. But I felt in my heart if this was someone else and they knew about it, I would want them to email me.
of course.
Hmm.
And I'm sorry, I get emotional about this because it's painful. This whole thing's been
I
really
can
hard.
tell that you're
So,
emotional, and I can tell that
so
you didn't want December 1st to be like this.
right. So I did email the whole class, and as you can imagine, that started a huge discussion. People were like side emailing me. Some people were responding to all, but one of the moms asked if she could be on the call. She was side emailing me. So there was another parent on the line
That is
who
a
was
great.
witnessing
Hmm.
this,
That is great.
and she actually she stopped the screaming and she said, "Excuse me, can everyone just identify themselves because I don't even know who's shouting right now." Just to give you an idea of just how intense this phone call was
Yeah.
with the principal. So so the people I spoke to after that, no one else screamed at me. It was the director of elementary school education next, and she was just extremely condescending and telling me that it's not about gender. That's not what this story is about. You know, we have this SEL curriculum, and we have words, and with all these words, we're going to have books that demonstrate the words. And I'm like, and we can't opt out. No, you can't opt
Isn't
out.
that
And I
incredible,
said,
though, for them to say
well,
the book is not about
well,
gender when the book has
well,
won a GLAAD award? I mean, it's clearly the people that wrote it
right.
say it's about gender. I mean, like you're
So,
not making this up.
but
That's what it's about.
right, that is what it's about. But you have to hear what they're saying here. They are essentially giving themselves permission to use whatever material they want to use,
Hmm.
as long as they're saying that represents embarrassment. This
Yes.
represents being shy. This represents being, so they can use anything.
Hmm.
So I said to her, I was like, so you guys have permission to use any material? Oh, well, it is approved and this book is approved. And I said, well, I looked this book up and it seems pretty clear on the internet. The book is about a little boy who's transitioning. No, that's not what it's about. And I said, well, that's the author's intent. And you know what she tells me? Well, that's not what the lesson is, though. And I said, I did go to, I'm educated, and I do recall whenever we read any book, there was always a very deep discussion about
Mhm.
everything. The characters, the author, the names, the setting, the family. We talked about, you picked apart every aspect of the book because that's what you do in
Well, right.
school. when
And your
you're reading
daughter's
books.
7, and you could tell by her takeaways when she came home that she knew what the book was about too. So if a 7-year-old is picking up what the author's laying down,
Right.
it's not like a secret. So
Well-
the idea that they're lying to your face and saying like, this has nothing to do with that. We don't even know where you're getting that idea.
Yes.
That's crazy. It's,
Totally.
So,
then,
so when you emailed all the parents, what was the level of response? Like, like roughly percentage-wise, was it like 50-50?
So, no, so out of 22, about 8 responded, 4 were against the book, 4 supported it, and yeah, so, and then of course, people just started attacking me, and
Saying
It's
what
just-
kind of
it's
things?
just-
This is in the email thread still, right?
So not so much in the email thread. It started later, more on Instagram, but somebody said that they felt unsafe now because
Because you
of
didn't
me
like a book?
Yes.
That's
And I
that's
felt-
another way they do it. It's if you feel unsafe, the argument has to stop right there. So you can. That's how
Well-
I can say that I don't want to argue anymore. I feel unsafe. That means
Wait,
you-
but they
But
read the book
I
to
just-
your kid, and this other
Right.
third party now feels unsafe?
Well, I felt really, really bad about this parent in particular, and I don't want to get into much more detail,
Mhm.
but I could have easily left him out of the email, but I did not. I included him. I included the whole class, and it was just sad. But
Well, but
We
so
can move on from that.
so when you talk to these administrators, they said that the lesson of the book was what? Then it was a tolerance,
nope, they said the lesson is on acceptance.
acceptance.
And I said, so there's no other children's book that you could find to teach acceptance other than one that includes
Right.
a gender identity situation and
Right.
theme. I think it's pretty clear they know exactly what they're doing with this book. So after the director of elementary education, I met with, or I spoke with the assistant, and he says, this has nothing to do with that. It's just a little boy playing dress up. It's just a little boy playing dress up. And I said, do you have the book? And I was like, open up this page. He's actually changing
Yes.
into, and he's like, no, I don't see that. That's not what it's about. And I said, well, what the author says that's what it's about. And, everywhere on the internet, there are actually lessons on the internet for how to use this book to teach gender identity. So, and he's like, yeah, but that's not what it is. And when I tell you, I have never been gaslighted so hard in my
Oh,
life.
yeah.
After every single phone call with these people in the administration, I actually hung up questioning myself, going back in Google, like, am I delusional?
Yeah.
Like, am I not
Well-
reading these things correctly? Because I'm pretty sure it said this, but I'm going to check
Yeah.
one more time just to make sure I'm not totally like losing it here. Because according to them, what I'm saying is completely not true because that's not what the book is about.
No, you're absolutely right. And I also think that the yelling at you and the condescending to you
Mm-hmm.
is a way to make you feel unsure of yourself, to question yourself. Why would somebody be so adamant and angry unless I've done something wrong? Because you don't usually run into that in life. So,
Right.
Now,
And-
were there any
right.
anybody on the school board or in the administration who was supportive of your point of view, or you felt like listened to you, or was
Um,
willing to take your point of view into account?
So with the administration, no, because next I spoke to the actual superintendent,
Mhm.
and this was just totally bizarre. He's telling me the same thing, that that's not what the book is. And then I said, "Well, do you have the book?" So again, I'm pointing out the things, and he's like, he was the only one that partially leveled with me. He said, "Well, I can kind of see where maybe you could think that, but that's not what it is." And I said, "Okay." So we go in this conversation, and I said, "Okay, I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere with you. So what do I do now?" He's like, "Well, there's really nothing past me." And I said, "Well, wait a minute. Isn't there a board of ed who hired you?"
There's nothing
Yeah.
past me.
Nope, that's it. He said, that's all.
Well, he really tried to, and then he's like, "Well, yeah, there is the board." And I said, "Okay, well, I think I'll just go with the board next." And I did meet with two people from the board of ed, and they were warm and they listened, but I feel like they just weren't as passionate about the whole situation, which I don't think anyone's really going to be as passionate as I am, because it happened to my child.
Mhm.
And I mean, this is my child, right? I'm
Mhm.
protective over her. So when I went to the board, they don't say anything. You just stand
Right. You
up
just yeah.
at the podium and you make your comment. And so that was October 25th was the first time that I stood at the board of ed. They did not email us with a response until November 23rd. We finally
Wow.
got an email response, and they said that the curriculum committee met and that they decided that the book was appropriate and that it would stay in the curriculum. And the whole thing, again, you have to listen here. The curriculum committee is who chooses these books.
Right.
So now when there's a complaint, they give it back to them to review it. So
Yes.
I never expected for 1 minute after talking
Yes.
to everyone in the administration that they were actually going to say, "Yeah, this isn't appropriate for 7-year-olds.
Yes.
Let's pull out." I never expected that.
We've
So I wasn't
reviewed our
surprised.
decision making and we've decided we've made the right decision. Is essentially what they said. So but you know what's interesting? If you wanted to, if you and I and our two, your 7-year-old and my 7-year-old, decided that we were going to tell kids what acceptance is, the concept of acceptance, having a boy stripped down to his underwear and get in girls' clothes would be a big distraction to that in that conversation of the concept of acceptance. Any kid would say, "Why is a boy putting in his underwear now? And why is a boy now in a dress?" That
Well, I mean, there's so many layers to this book, because I was telling the superintendent, I said, "Listen, so we're teaching the kids to walk around in their underwear with a bunch of adults."
seriously,
That
it's a
to me,
how-to, Megan. It's a how-to.
but I feel
In
like I
a
told him, I was like,
parade, in
that
a
is
parade that exists in real life, and where a lot of adults are extremely scantily clad and or topless, of
right, and
all genders and
right,
everything.
and I mean, and I almost feel like the author. I'm upset with her for exploiting this child. She could have at least put him in a proper mermaid costume and had this little boy covered up at the parade. Like, there's just so many levels to what this.
It's almost as if
Why this book upsets me.
yeah, it's almost as if it's saying to little kids, "Hey, use what you have. If you don't have a real mermaid costume, just find what you have around the house."
But I don't understand the concept of the school district saying, like, no, it's not possible to opt out. No, your child can't do something else during this unit. Now that you've said, I mean, you would think that would be a bare minimum of what the school could do, since, even if every other parent in the school district loves it. Like, I went to high school. One of my classmates was a very devout Mormon, and his parents objected to a Toni Morrison book that had necrophilia in it. And even though Toni Morrison is a very acclaimed author and, it was part of the curriculum, his parents wrote in and said they had an objection, and he didn't have to read that book. They gave him something else to do during that time period.
Wow, where did you go to school?
I mean, at the time, it was a pretty liberal district. I went to school in Lexington, Massachusetts, but they would let you opt out of things if you weren't comfortable with things, because they acknowledged that school is there for the benefit of the parents and families. And,
Right.
and if you as a parent aren't comfortable with something, you should be able to take your kid out that day.
Lexington, Mass is kind of like Darien, and probably now you probably can't opt out.
Probably nowadays, no. I would think that's probably changed. But, I mean, it wasn't that long a time ago. This was like 20 years ago, so you would think that as a parent, you would at least have that much flexibility, because then what else is your option, right? Is your only option, like, I'm going to homeschool now? And that's not feasible for so many people.
Right, homeschool or private school. So they told me that this is like mandated by the state of Connecticut. There's this huge focus on social emotional learning, and
Mhm.
they think that they own children.
Yes.
That the children is like they say that I was told that they believe they are responsible for the whole child, which my response is, hey, these are my children.
Yes.
You don't need to
That's
be
right.
responsible for the whole child.
Right.
I'm sending my child to you for math, science, English, writing, Spanish, music, gym class,
Mhm.
all the other stuff we're taking care of at home. We
Yes.
don't need this.
It's so dangerous. Okay, so you get written up in the patch and a couple other places. In the patch, it's funny because the superintendent contradicts himself in the patch. You know.
Oh, yes. So I went back to the Board of Ed a second time
Mhm.
to call out his contradictory comments, because he actually said in one of the articles that this is categorically not a gender identity book. It is not a gender book. And so I brought his comments, and I brought the catalog from the school library where the book is listed, gender identity. So I read his comment, I showed the board where the book is categorized, and I said, there's a huge conflict here. Who's telling the truth? Is it the book or is it the superintendent? This is not appropriate. And I asked the board, I said, when are you going to hold this administration accountable and demand that they're honest and transparent and follow their own policy? Because that's the biggest thing here is they said there is not supposed to be gender education in elementary school.
Huh.
So yes, exactly. So by following their own policy, they should not be sharing books that are broaching that subject if that's the policy.
Mhm.
So
Especially, I mean, at that age, right? And, up until like I say, our school district when I was a kid had to ask permission to even do like very rudimentary, like, this is puberty now, sex ed in like 5th grade, They weren't
Right.
doing this stuff with like kindergartners, 1st graders, 2nd graders. It's how far it's shifted the standard for like what's appropriate to talk to little kids about in such a short amount of time really astonishes me.
right, I just don't understand it. It just feels so wrong. I mean,
Yes.
my moral compass with this whole thing, it makes my stomach turn, because back to what I was saying earlier, once you start down this slope, where is it? Like, where's the end? I mean, or does this teacher just keep explaining things
Mhm.
with 7-year-olds? With 7-year-olds,
Yeah.
Yes.
is like-
If at 7 years old he's in his underwear, God knows at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
What they'll be reading.
Exactly what they'll be reading. Okay, so you start getting slammed, I assume, the neighborhood Facebook page, and you said Instagram, etc. And then, of course, you were on Fox yesterday, right?
right.
Well, you must be a bundle of nerves right now. You must be.
Yeah, I'm just exhausted too. I mean,
Yeah.
I had to wake up at 3 yesterday, and it was like a 4:45 hit, and then I went to work all day, and then your body's just like. And then I caught a second wind. I couldn't fall asleep last night, but yeah, I am. I mean, I feel like I'm really putting myself out there, and
Yeah.
I mean, really, I just want to create more awareness about this, and my hope and prayer is that more parents come out, because people have
Yes.
been emailing me and telling me, like, I'm with you, I support you. I
Right.
know, but nobody wants to say anything.
So how are you taking? So you're getting threats from people?
Not threats yet. They've just been calling me a bigot.
Right, bigot and homophobe and
Which-
whatever. It's a pleasure. You know what I would say,
Just-
Megan? You don't the disclaimer about being pro LGBTQ plus. These people don't care. They don't care. I mean, you're obviously somebody who is heartbroken about what's happening with your daughter, and you're obviously a very decent person who has compassion and empathy. But the disclaimer only makes them more hungry to hurt you. They think that, okay, so she sees that she needs to, espouse her love and affection for the LGBTQ community.
Yeah, I've heard that too, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I feel like if I don't say that, then they would, like, you get attacked no matter what.
Yep.
So if you don't express your support, which I do, I actually have friends who are gay
Yeah.
who support me on this. They're like, this is not appropriate. And then there's other people who don't feel that way. But if you don't say it, then they're going to attack you and say, she hates this book, she's this, she's that.
Mhm.
So I feel like no matter what I do, I'm going to be wrong because they just don't want me stopping their machine. And I feel like their machine is them trying to take our children and literally just indoctrinate them and
Yes.
basically.
The fact that you've got to feel defensive simply because you don't want a 7-year-old girl to read about a 7-year-old boy going through a trans experience in his underwear with illustrations, that's craziness. That you should even have to do this is incredible. They know that they're doing something wrong, which is why they're obfuscating and they're denying it. And they hide it in the SEL stuff like you've known. You were very eloquent in front of the board. I only saw the first time. And that's important that people are out there saying it. I've got a radio show, obviously, in Connecticut, and it's nothing but support for you.
Mm-hmm.
People are, and I've dealt with so many moms. It's funny. It's like I've been doing Connecticut radio here for a year and a half. Almost all of the friends, with a handful of a few that I've made, are moms who dared to speak up at Board of Ed meetings and were told to shut up one way or another. In Enfield with the pizza sex thing or wherever it is. South Windsor.
So awful.
Yes. These are moms in what is ostensibly a pretty state who want to raise kids and go to baseball games and not have to worry if the coach of the t-ball game called you a B word the other night on Facebook. I mean, this is so divisive, this stuff, and so terrible. But what do you do next? Have you said your piece and now you're going away, or are you going to continue to?
You're going to run for school board?
I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I just, in my heart, I feel like I'm not going to give up. I mean, I feel like I've been in fight mode since this happened. And I just feel like, if you don't stand up for your children, like, what are you going to stand up and fight for? I mean, and I'm just not giving up. So I want to connect with other parents.
Yeah.
And I want us all to unite because people have been reaching out to me and they're telling me that they're with this parent group and they're with this parent group. So the parent groups, I think, are out there, but I think we all need to come together as a united front. And I'm not even sure if it needs to be a town by town thing. I think we might even have to go to Hartford and tell the state government because this is coming down from the state.
Yes.
The state has, they have bills that are pushing this type of curriculum.
And a lot of it's attached to federal funding too. So.
Right. So it's coming down from I mean, it's just, so I'm not giving up. I'm going to do what I can in working and connecting with groups and seeing what comes from that. And I think the most important thing is continue to be as close as I can with my children and instill good values and make sure that every day I hear what's going on. And if something else comes up, I will be right back at the Board of Ed, making sure everyone knows about it.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to be. I mean, what you've done, you've frankly inspired people around the country with what you said, because you're obviously not a paid activist. This is not, you don't really seem to want to be part of this other than the fact you're just trying to protect your daughter.
So, I mean, before this, were you political at all or involved in anything like that?
No, absolutely not. This is not politically driven at all. I mean, I vote every election cycle. I think voting is very important. I told my daughter that, women didn't always have the right to vote. We have to go out and we have to vote. That's important. I'm just trying to raise a good girl. And again, there's nothing against this community at all. She will learn about all of these things. She will. But when she's older, right now, when I tell you, she's just my little, I see her face hasn't changed from the time she was born. I mean, she's just she's my sweet little baby girl. Yes. She literally, when I see her sleeping, she looks exactly from the day she was born. And to think that there are adults, just talking to her about things that, that's not her magical world that she lives in. Not now.
No.
We can save this for later. I mean, it's just not appropriate. It's not.
It's interesting because you talk about that. And we've got a daughter too. Our daughter's older. She's what is she, 11 now?
She's almost 12. Yes, she's 11 now.
And generally little girls are very decent human beings anyway. They're innocent. They're doing wonderful things. They like pretty things and they like creating things. And my daughter, we were at a restaurant a few months ago, and our waiter had nail polish, very elaborate nail polish on. and my daughter said, "Oh, I love your nails." Now, she didn't. All she saw was the nails. She thought they were pretty, and that's it. And the guy said, "Oh, thank you so much."
Exactly.
Right.
That's it. That's it.
Nothing deeper. There was no.
Right. Right. And,
Nobody
you know,
had
there's some
any
parents-
agenda.
Right. And like, I feel like there's some parents who would be like, actually, you need to say, like, you know, like get into this whole like thing.
Right.
But it's like, why do you have to do that with the kids?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
the kids see people and the person's nice to them and kind. The kid loves them. It's fine. Like we don't
Yeah.
have to get into all this like extra detail when they're this young.
Completely
So-
agree. Well, you're doing a great job, Megan. She is Megan Watros. Do you want anybody to follow you, or are you just trying to? Are you?
Isn't enough.
No,
How much trouble do you
I-
want?
No, I don't need any followers. I'm just, you know, if there's anyone out there who wants to get involved, if they're in the state of Connecticut, and if you share the same sentiment, if you have kids in the school, you can find me very easily because people have been finding me and messaging me. And right now, I'm just trying to get all the parents together. And I just feel like we have to fight. Like,
Yes.
we just cannot back down from this. And I feel like we need to push back and just tell them this is not okay. I mean, it's not okay.
Well, you are great, and you're one brave woman in making a hell of a role model for your daughter, and really for sons too, and for families around the country. So, good going, Megan. We took you much longer than we promised we would. We
No,
appreciate.
it's okay. It's okay. Thank you. I really appreciate you again, like giving me the opportunity just to create awareness about this. And I just hope that something changes. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, it's insane.
It is insane, and you are totally in the right. And congratulations. And let's check back in. Let's stay in touch, okay?
Mhm.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Best
Okay,
you-
it was nice to meet
Thank
you
you,
both.
Megan.
You too. Best to your family.
Okay, thank
Bye-bye.
you. You too. Bye.
All right. I hit leave meeting. Is that okay, Alice?
That is fine.
All right. So it was great talking to her. I thought she was great. Thoughts?
She was excellent. She's great. We did have a few comments in the chat saying essentially, and you said this as well to her, like they're not going to listen to you that, you know, that you're saying you support the LGBT community. They don't care. They're still going to call you the same names and still do the same stuff. But I kind of get the vibe from her that's really actually just how she feels about it.
Yeah.
And she's just being honest about how she feels about it. And
Yeah.
and it, you know, it is what it is. I think that you have to meet people where they are anytime. Like,
Mhm.
obviously, I think both of us are more conservative than she is probably on a whole host of issues. And, you know,
Yeah,
you,
there's
you
no-
heard her say she's not been politically involved. It's
Yeah.
not her thing. But, you know, I think that it's a very important issue. And the fact that she's clear-eyed and so strong and really brave on this issue, because it is a hard thing to have people in your community saying things like this about you and have other parents emailing you and saying, I agree with you, but I'm too scared to say anything out loud. And you're the only one who will stand up. That's a tough thing. And it can be life-changing for a very long period of time and affect your ability to like live in that community anymore at all.
Right. And the social emotional learning stuff now is not what it was designed to be. It is now progressive orientation and indoctrination. That's what it is. And I'm not trying to sound over conspiratorial. I think probably many people who are foisting this stuff on kids or who are pushing this stuff believe they're doing a humanitarian favor for our culture and society. And in the world that they see, where everybody's an aggressor and you know, speech that they don't like is violence, then it all makes sense. But that's not the real world. If you live in Darien, Connecticut, things are just fine. You don't have to worry generally about, you know, kids, you know, being cruel or violent to other kids based on anything whatsoever. As a matter of fact, it's very extremely affluent and peaceful place.
Right.
But these people in these rich towns have nothing better to do than to meddle, to experiment, and to hobby. I don't know if it comes out of a place of guilt or what it does, but it's absolutely. Oh, look at you, Alice.
What?
You look good.
Oh,
Standing
I
out there.
just had to stand up and fix the camera. Sorry.
So, should we get right to Kanye and the Nazis or no?
Oh, we can talk some Kanye.
We
Yeah, I
gotta
mean,
hit
at the begin, it's crazy because at the beginning of this day, I thought we were going to be talking about Sam Bankman-Fried today. That's where I thought we were going to be because that was like the huge audio of the day this morning, like 12 hours ago. That's what it was, right?
Well, right. As a matter of fact, if you listened to the commentary podcast today, they were saying, and they tape at like 9 a.m. They were saying that this is the first day in 5 years when there's no huge news story. Give it a little while, fellas. And yeah, there is. So this
Yeah, because there turned out to be a bigger news story, especially affecting, you would think, the commentary podcast particular slice of the conservative movement, because this was interesting. I mean, I just started to see my Twitter blow up in the middle of the day with people talking about Kanye being on Alex Jones. And again, with Fuentes in the background in his same blue sweatshirt. Like, does the kid only own one shirt?
He does. He does.
I don't know.
You know what? And you'd think for a Nazi he'd have. Although they might be in a whirlwind. You know, maybe he hasn't been home, and Kanye's wearing a mask over.
Someone told me, and I don't know that this is true, and this came from a friend who like hears a lot of rumors, some of which turn out to be true and some of which don't. But she said that she heard from someone that it's like a Balenciaga face covering wrestling mask.
Oh no!
So,
oh no!
I don't know if it's some kind of point, if that's true, if that's some kind of point, or like what. I don't know if that's true.
Let's get to Kanye here.
Okay.
So there's a lot to say. Let's just play it.
That's right. You're not Hitler. You're not a Nazi. You don't deserve to be called that and demonized.
Well, I see good things about Hitler also. The Jew.
So right there, pretty much that's curtains. Right? I see good things about Hitler also. It's not even
for most people.
I see
that's
a good
that's
thing about Hitler. I see good things about Hitler also. Now I am happy for him that he feels so liberated in his mind to say whatever he wants whatsoever. But Hitler this is a man who mass mechanized the extermination of human beings and nearly pulled it off. This is one of the greatest monsters in history. He's up there. He's on the Mount Rushmore of greatest monsters in history. There aren't a lot of great things about Hitler,
especially in modern days. You know, certainly there have been some pretty terrible people in like further back ancient history and stuff.
Well, certainly,
but in modern times, Hitler is right up there with the worst of the worst.
Right. To have an industrial...
Morgan confirms that he says it's a Balenciaga mask, which I believe, because they do some fashion that's like that. Like Kim Kardashian wears a lot of their stuff, and they made the thing that she wore to the
What's the occasion for such a mask?
The Met thing. Well, do you remember what's the art thing that like AOC was at? Is it the Met?
Yeah, the Met Gala.
The Met Gala, and like one of the years, Kim wore a whole thing to that where it was like all over her face, and she was like in this whole black like covered up weird thing. Like, so they have some of their fashion is like that. I don't know. There's a reason you and I don't buy Balenciaga, and it's not only because it's way, way, way out of our price range. It's also because it's insane. So, yeah, anyway, I guess so. I don't know if he's like trying to make some kind of point about Balenciaga by wearing it there or what the deal is. But I mean, like, yeah, the whole thing was so strange. But you continue playing some more audio of this.
Okay, hang on 1 second. Sorry about that.
But yeah.
Okay.
Hitler also. The Jew. I love everyone, and Jewish people are not going to tell me you can love, us. And you can love what we're doing to you with the contracts. And you can love what we're pushing with the pornography. But this guy that invented highways, invented the very microphone that I use as a musician.
Did Hitler invent highways? I know the Autobahn is a Hitler thing, but weren't there highway robbers back in the 1300s?
Well, but those weren't like modern highways.
Well, I understand that. Okay. But they were thoroughfares for the most modern machinery.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the Romans had essentially what you'd call highways too.
Right.
They had roads that outlasted their empire by many, many years.
Did Hitler build the microphone? That's a new one for me.
No, although our mics are called Heil mics. Is that a German brand?
Uh-oh.
I don't even know.
All right, we'll give him microphones. That's fine.
I don't think he invented the microphone, but I mean, maybe there's some like German microphone brand that was I don't even know this, so I don't know. But yeah, I think it's tough. I think it's tough when he's going, and I don't know if you have this particular cut or not, but when he said that there's like every human has contributed something to humanity, which is like, okay. I'm like, I'm going there with you. And then he's like, especially Hitler. And you're like, wait, what?
Well, if you can parse up the word contribute, like he contributed many mass graves, I guess. He contributed the destruction of a continent.
You can't say out loud that this person ever did anything good, and I'm done with that. I'm done with the classifications. Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table, especially Hitler.
You know, so I would, if I were him, maybe vet my clients.
Maybe go with
a
even
little
Hitler?
bit for, yeah, I would take a look at the people I'm willing to, you know, go to the mat for. And I also don't know that Hitler was especially fond of black people. And remember Kanye was mad that George Bush didn't care about black people?
I think you think Hitler might give George Bush a run for his money in the not caring about black people Olympics?
I would say so.
I've said it, the most Nazi-like activities I've seen, and the Nazis, in my view, were thugs that shook people down, did a lot of really bad things.
But they did good things too. We're gonna stop dissing the Nazis all the time.
Okay, we're gonna get to that. I don't.
We got to stop dissing the Nazis all the time.
They did good things too, Tom. Just
The Nazi Defamation League has spoken up to Alex Jones, who's now the moderate in this group. Even what's his name, Fuentes, who's also sitting at this table, is like, I'm all good, dude. As Kanye self-immolates for some reason.
So it was interesting though, because today you were
think-
talking to Todd about it, and he essentially was saying that he thinks, based on other interviews that he's heard Kanye doing recently, that he feels that Kanye is just saying the most provocative, outrageous things humanly possible in order to like push the Overton window, basically. In order to do what we're saying. Like all of a sudden, Alex Jones is now the calm and reasonable, moderate one, right? So if that's the case, if that's what he's doing, is if he's saying, I have FU money, so I'm going to say whatever it takes to make Alex Jones seem totally reasonable and get him back into the mainstream voices, then like, I guess that makes sense in a sort of self-sacrificial way, because that's kind of like what Todd was saying today. And I've heard a few people say that, like, oh, now Alex Jones seems reasonable. Like, who knew? You know?
One of Kanye's gold nuggets today was, there are Jewish people basically hiding me under their floorboards right now. It's like a reverse version of the Holocaust. You know what? This is the most comprehensive, offensive score session that has ever been done. There is almost
like
nothing left.
I was tired of picking up the Yahoo and the netting, so for now it's just netting. I know some people call him BB.
Have you seen this?
No, some people call him
He's holding a Yahoo in one hand, and one is
a little fishnet thing.
yes.
Yahoo, but we're gonna call him Netting. What you want, Netting? Hey, yeah, right after this, I'm gonna say you're crazy. I'm gonna take your family away from you. We're not done with you yet. You cannot cause free thought. We have to control the history books. We have to control the banks, and we have to go and kill people. Also, we're in the pedophilia.
I'm not sure that's
So-
exactly what Netanyahu sounds
Hold
like.
on.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you're going to take the mask off because is this actually yay here?
So one of the things that I thought of today is like, what set of words can he say to? Well, obviously, everybody is going to drop him and disaffiliate with him.
Yes, I would say so.
If they I assume they all have right now. I assume there's 25,000 press releases out there saying, yeah, we have nothing to do with this guy anymore. Goodbye. Everything is gone for this guy. He will not be able to make any more income without other than stock dividends.
Well, I mean, there was also today, like, I mean, he's still selling music. You know, like they can't take away. If
Is today?
Spotify, yeah.
How
Spotify
many gospel people are going to be playing the Nazi lover?
But people still play R. Kelly, and he raped people. Kanye's just saying words, really bad, offensive words, but like, I mean,
People expect musicians to rape a certain amount of people. They don't expect them to give full-throated defenses of Hitler.
I still think raping people is worse than saying words about Hitler, even if they're terrible words about Hitler. But I mean, I'm not endorsing what Kanye West said, but I mean, like, people still play R. Kelly. People still play Michael Jackson all over the place. Like, I think people are still going to stream his music and stuff, and they have to pay him for that because that's all that he owns that, you know? Morgan says in the chat, he said he wants to be dropped so he can be free.
But can't he be free by just leaving? Can't he be free and still cash checks?
Well, not according to him. Not according to him, right? He's got these people around him and around the Kardashians, like Harley Pasternak, who's threatening him with getting him institutionalized and drugged up so he can never be consciously seeing his kids again the rest of his life. You know, like, if you're surrounded by people that are trying to control you all the time. And, you know, one of the most telling things, honestly, was in that extremely brief Tim Pool interview when he said, when you become famous, I became famous at 24, and when you become famous, you stop growing. And I think part of that is because of the people around you, you know? So somebody else in the chat, Tommy in New Hampshire, says he's John McAfee nuts.
I think more so.
And I think right there. I think right there. And I think there's a similar desire to sort of be a rejection of that, like, rich and famous culture that is out there. He also, like, in part that was, like, almost sort of sad. He, like, was pleading to Kim Kardashian to come back to Christ, basically. I don't know. So the whole, yeah,
it's a tough look. There's no doubt about that.
it's rough.
No doubt
But
about that.
I mean, I don't know, like, where this goes from here, because I don't know what the point of, like, and someone was tweeting from his account during this interview as well, which I assume is probably
he let
Milo.
Alex Jones and Fuentes use his Twitter.
Okay, great, yeah. And supposedly Milo
Alex,
had
we should
been
DM him and see if he'll
tweeting.
come on. Actually, I don't think I want him on.
I know, because
I haven't had to debate many pro-Hitler people.
No, it's not something that you generally have to do, but yeah.
Alice, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Should we possibly go to the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline?
I think we should check out the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline. And
Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce, by the way, a sponsor of the Tom Shattuck Show. I'm sorry, it's not the Tom Shattuck Show. It's the Tom Shattuck's Burn Barrel Podcast, which is where we are right now with Alice Shattuck. Alice does not drink the hot sauce. I'm sorry that you're missing
maybe
this
we
pleasure.
can make some special exclusive content where I taste the hot sauce.
No, because you'll writhe in pain like a wuss ball. It's a great hot sauce, a wickedly flavorful blend of habanero and ghost peppers. Let me tell you, this is the perfect, and I've told you this, before we had a deal with these guys.
Before they were a sponsor of the
Before they
Burn
were
Barrel,
a
that's
sponsor.
true.
This is the perfect blend of heat, because it's no messing around. It's good heat. And good taste. It's
Right.
the perfect blend. And I just told my brother and my two other friends, the Deeds and Scott, that yesterday in a text, because I've been going through hot sauces, because we've been on the road and I've been eating scrambled eggs, and just my cousin got some hot sauces down in South Carolina. Listen to it. It is 12. By the way, you can get 12 bottles for case. The bottle, this is a 5-ounce bottle. Sea salt used for reduced sodium. It's everything in this is stuff that you can have on a weekend when you eat loss, by the way. You can find it all over Walmart Marketplace, Amazon Choice Vendor status. You can get it at the Big Y in Connecticut, you guys. Stop and Shop, Local Rack in Mass, Market Basket in Mass, New Hampshire in Maine, Whole Foods in Mass, Connecticut, Rhode Island. He was so smart. The guy's name is John. He's so smart because he made this with no funny chemicals. So, like, this hot sauce, well, if you just leave it down, you got to shake it because it will settle. Because there's not like xanthan gum or plutonium in there to keep everything, like, have a spine, so it doesn't. So you got to shake it up. And it's just the best stuff in the world. By the way, 5% of all sales proceeds go to the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation, www.firehero.org, helping families and coworkers of fallen firefighters. I mistakenly said yesterday that he was a firefighter. He wasn't a firefighter. He was a Chelsea guy who was interested in the Chelsea fires, the historic Chelsea fires, who has great respect for the fire department and wants to support them. He's a guy who makes...
Morgan wants to know if there's a promo code to use so that we get credit.
That's a great point. Yeah, just let him know when you put it.
Yeah, actually, you know what, Just when you buy your Chelsea Fire hot sauce, Why don't you post it to social media?
Yes, he's on Facebook. I know that. I don't know if he's what else he's really up on, but I know he's on Facebook.
But even if you tweet it, because I feel like our fans are a little more active on Twitter.
Yes.
Even if you tweet it, we'll make sure he sees it and gets it and sees that you guys are
Yeah, it's
trying
awesome.
his
Dude,
hot sauce.
tell me what you really think. I have never. I mean, this obviously you guys know that I would prostitute anything, but this I just actually
You guys
love.
heard him organically
Yes.
on the show say he
Yes.
liked it before.
It's awesome. Tell me what you think. If you think it sucks, then let me know. But it doesn't. It's freaking awesome. Especially you hot sauce people. I think mostly guys are hot sauce people, but maybe not all just guys. I would love to know what you think about it. I love it. I'm thrilled. And this is a small business guy just who has a passion, you know, and it's just it's everything about it is just good. All right. So now it is time for the Chelsea Fire hotline, Alice.
Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline.
Wicked hotline, yes. Maybe I should have you say that for now. Oh, all right.
Maybe you should produce something up with like sound effects and
Maybe I
stuff for
will.
the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline.
Ooh, what are you thinking, little lady? What are you thinking?
Hey, Tom and DJ. I don't.
DJ?
Uh,
DJ. DJ.
I don't know.
Dana Giselle?
Hey, Tom and DJ. I don't understand when people leave messages and then they just go on and on and on and on and on. Never really get to the point. It's like,
True.
Can you please get to the point? Can you please get to the point? Please, pretty, please get to the point. And then they just droll on and on.
Thank you.
Hey, Tom and Alice. This is Dana from Maine.
Hey,
Hope
Dana.
all is well. It's been a while.
Hi, Dana.
Yeah, come on, Dana. Get in the mix. I understand you get stuff to do. It sounds like he's driving, too.
Just wanted to comment on the discussion yesterday about Hooters.
Yes.
And I agree 100%. The food there was fantastic. And it's very similar to my upbringing where I used to frequent a fine establishment down in Providence, Rhode Island called the Foxy Lady. And Tom, you probably have been there, I would assume.
I have not been to the Foxy Lady, but I know Mo Vaughn was a fan.
I went there for the breakfast.
I might have been to the Foxy Lady. There was a time in my very early 20s that we used to go to strip joints all the time, including on Christmas Eve. A great one in Chinatown. It's still there, I think.
I don't know what you went there for, but legs and eggs.
Yeah, do they have anything other than breakfast? I don't know. I never had any money, so I never had like did the shower room stuff or anything like that. I never did anything like that. We were just like young guys, and it was kind of like the macho thing to do. It's really kind of tawdry, but we were drawn to that. You know, just, I don't know. We weren't out like, but whatever. This is not. I'm not helping myself.
I mean, it was a kind of a weird name for the breakfast, but the food.
There was a place I went to in Cape Cod for my friend's bachelor party. And this place was all local girls who was like, this was near the tip of Cape Cod. So I don't even know. You guys probably know it. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a little private place. And behind it were cottages that went along with the building. So I believe you could be intimate.
In the
With
cottages?
yes, with the dancers. I think that was the idea. I don't know. I was not intimate with the dancers.
You know, chef's kiss. Fantastic. The only reason why I went, all you could eat breakfast buffet,
Ooh.
and there was other things going on, but it was really the food. Hope you had a great day.
Well, there's another. It's funny because, you know, the Starbucks people are complaining about people not tipping, and they want people to be tipping more. You learn to tip at an exotic dance facility, certainly. Have you ever been to one?
A strip club?
Yeah.
No, never.
Yeah. Well, you learn to tip, and the tipping correlates directly with you learn to tip.
I'll take your word for it.
So, how good is that Chelsea's hot sauce?
I'm
Is
glad
it
you
as
asked.
good as Texas Pete's or French?
Oh God, please! No, those things, those are bottom of the barrel. Texas Pete's and like the knockoffs of like Tabasco, the knockoffs.
Actually, previous to this one, the only hot sauce you told me was the best hot sauce you ever had and were super impressed by was the one I brought you from the Orthodox monks who make it at their monastery.
Oh really? Yeah, I'm
Do
sorry.
you remember that?
Yes, I
They
do.
like grew the peppers and like made hot sauce
Yeah,
out
there
of
are
them, and I
some-
would buy you hot sauce at the monastery
The
when
thing
I went.
is about a lot of those ones that are creamy, a lot of them have fruit or sugar in them. And now I'm off of that. And also like this is, Yeah, no, there's some great hot sauces out there. No matter what, but Texas Pete's does not belong in this conversation.
Frank's or
Frank's is serviceable. It's not really hot sauce. Let's be honest. It's more of like a thin ketchup. I do like Frank's
The buffalo wings.
the buffalo
stuff.
stuff. Like for it has a place, but I can't eat that now. I don't think.
the Tulupio. I can't think of it's the Mexican
Cholula?
one.
Cholula is good. Alice loves that.
I like that
She has
chili
to go-
garlic one, which is a pretty mild one. That's
Right.
about as far as I go.
And there's another one my brother had, Chucachela or something, Triple X, the green stuff, which is really good.
One with the guy with the sombrero on it. I can't think of what the name of it is.
I know what you mean. That one's available here at Ocean State Job Lot. It's fine. It's not really hot sauce.
Louisiana.
No, it's rubbish.
I can go hours naming hot sauces.
Well, we'll be intrigued to hear what
Chelsea
you
Fire-
think about Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot
Chelsea
Sauce.
Fire Wicked Hot Sauce
Justin,
is the
since you sound like a connoisseur.
place to go.
I'm a big sauce guy. Cane sauce,
Oh, Cane's? Cane's?
great. Arby's sauce,
Oh, horsey sauce from Arby's. We just got some. Oh, by the way, I whacked out some of that Arby's at night. Did you know that? The beef and cheddars we got?
What about them?
I took the beef and cheddar out of the bun and ate it.
I don't think that's approved.
No, it's not approved, but it doesn't matter. I still lost 6 pounds of fat.
great.
Arby's, I don't want to talk about it because I need to go back to Arby's. As soon as I lose more weight, I'm going to go to Arby's. I'm going to get 56 sandwiches, Alice. I'm going to eat over the sink.
You're allowed to have 1 to 2
I'm not having
things a
1 to
week.
2 anything. I'm having horsey sauce and I'm putting Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce on it. I'm going to puke all over the sink and damn you all.
I don't know if you count the honey cinnamon butter.
Oh, God, forget it. We're done.
Hey, Tom and Alice, how you doing tonight? I am calling. I have a little bit of an issue going on.
Uh-oh.
My husband, he has a really obsessive personality.
This is Alicia. Do we know Alicia?
I'm not sure. Keep going.
Okay. I'm going to go back to the beginning to do some voice analysis.
Okay.
Hey, Tom and Alice, how you doing tonight? I am calling. I have a little bit of an issue going on. My husband, he has a really obsessive personality. Currently, his obsession is your show.
Oh, good.
Basically, Sunday through Thursday, it's like a tailgating party. He gets his 30-pack of beer, and he
You have a great husband, Alicia.
I love this.
What a great guy this guy is. What a great guy. His 30-pack of beer, tailgating, listen to the Bird Dog Podcast. What's
Morgan's in the chat saying it's his wife.
Oh, my goodness. Morgan, are you fat? If you're getting 30 packs, usually you throw in a few pounds. I hope you are, is what I'm saying. I hope you're a brother to me. At least, by the way, she sounds beautiful.
She sounds lovely.
Of course.
completely ignores me and the kids. It's always, oh, wow, look how hot Alice is tonight.
Sorry, I apologize.
Tom's hair looks so good.
That is what we call a classy gentleman, Alicia. I need you to make him a martini. You need to buy one of those St. Pauli girl things outfits that I forced Alice into. And beg his forgiveness while giving him a full massage.
It's a little crazy, so I was hoping you could maybe help me out. So I was thinking you could cut back to 3 days a week so I could have my husband
know.
back, or
Wow.
you could send me some hot sauce. I would settle for that as well.
Ooh, you know
All right,
what?
thanks, guys. Maybe you can help me out here.
Alicia, you know what?
Maybe we'll pay her off in hot sauce.
Hush money in hot sauce. Because we tried to go down to 3 days a week and we were threatened by podcast listening terrorists who demanded that we not do it or else they'd leave us altogether. So we're doing, hopefully they don't demand 7 days. So, Alicia, keep calling. I love that. That's great.
Hi, Habibis. It's
Hey.
Les calling into the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline. I think there's a very
I'm sorry, Alice. And you know that I love you, right? And I'm basically monogamous. But hearing a woman say, Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline? Come on now.
cool and clever name for the Shot. However, now we're talking about sponsoring a show segment. And I personally think that this requires a premium price versus just
More than
whatever
a case
regular
of hot sauce?
Hold on.
This requires a premium price versus just whatever regular sponsorship that Chelsea Fire Hot Sauce is doing. Wicked Hot Sauce is doing for you guys. So just some food for thought. Congrats on the sponsor. Bye.
Thank you.
I think
I'm
we'll
so
wait.
immature.
I think
I'm so
we'll,
immature.
I know.
That-
I think we'll wait until we have a little bit more competition for our ad space before we start
yes.
amping up.
Believe it or not, we are not completely sold out. That's right.
The world is crazy right now. We have people being welded in shut into their homes in China just for 0% COVID. 0%. That's an unattainable goal, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah, they're being jerks over there. No bueno.
Habibis, Les again. I forgot to ask this. Has the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce?
I'm sorry, Alice. Can't say that, Leslie. Jesus. I feel like I'm at a strip joint. Oh my God.
Stop. Leslie is a Christian woman. Stop it.
Uh-huh. You're not helping, Alice.
Been tried in Tom Shattuck's famous Bloody Marys?
It has not.
Answer, I'm dying to know. Also, I'm dying to try Tom Shattuck's famous Bloody Marys at some point in my life, but that's a separate topic. Let us know. Love you. Bye.
Yeah, no. I do like making Bloody Marys from scratch. You know what we can do? We can toggle back the like shrimp and bacon in Bloody Marys, guys. We get it. You can put all sorts of stuff in.
Yeah, I don't want to eat it.
Food. Although eating it is fine, but you know, at the end of the day, it's just an excuse to start the day.
Hey, Tom and Alice. Just wanted to talk to you about the name of your new sponsor there, your Chelsea Fire hot sauce. There are those that could take offense at that, really. It kind of stems from the Chelsea fires of 1908 and 1973.
Right.
In 1973, 18 blocks were burned, 300 buildings, 1,100 people were left homeless, and 600 people were left jobless. In the 1908 fire, there were actually 19 people killed, 15,000 left homeless, and over 350 acres of the city of Chelsea burned. So again, I don't take offense at it, but I'm not so sure that there aren't people around that might. It's kind of an insensitive choice of a name. Awaken 180, you might want to see if you can get the Awaken 180 studio versus the Chelsea Fire studio. Thanks for all you do. Take care.
Well, Alice wanted to do the 9/11 chat, which I thought was really insensitive.
No,
Alice. Really?
It's not true.
Really?
It's not true. I'm being slandered once again.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I
could see you thinking that one up over there.
Yeah.
Your little wheels turning.
Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce is a dedication to the memory of those 500,000 people displaced in Chelsea, Massachusetts.
And part of the proceeds goes to fallen firefighters.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, I intend to go to a certain area in Chelsea. What's the area called with all the bars?
I don't know.
That's in Chelsea, or is that in Everett?
I don't know.
Huh. I'll be making a contribution in parts of the Chelsea as well. Soon, yeah. You know what? So here's my feeling on that. It's really good hot sauce, and that's
as far as it goes for you.
As far as it goes, right? Remember, I was brought onto this earth while the embers in beautiful Chelsea, Massachusetts, were still
smoldering.
Are
you sure he said 1973? So is it before your birthday or after? Do you know?
Unto this land was born a boy child.
And
his name was.
It's good for you that you can't actually quote any scriptures. So you can't actually.
Who indeed removed the plank from his own eye before he.
You don't know any, so that you can't ruin it with your stupid takes on things. Just stop.
All right. So obviously, no more Chelsea Fire hotline calls.
Wicked hotline.
Much like Kanye defends Hitler, I'm defending
Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce.
Exactly. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. It tastes good. It makes me happy. It makes the world happy. It's a small business success story, and a proceed goes to
fallen firefighters.
Fallen firefighters. So there you go. I stand by my man and my hot sauce, which is more than Alice does. I'll just say that. By the way, Alicia, feel free to call again. What is Morgan doing with such an absolutely smoking hot wife?
What are you doing?
I don't know. What are we doing?
Thank you so much for listening, everyone, and for all the great chat messages. What a great one it was today. Sorry, Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline messages, I would say. It was an especially banner day for everybody. Great week. It's been fun being with you all. We will see you again on Sunday. If you want to join Patreon live streams or get bonus shows on Sundays, you can do that at patreon.com/burnbarrel. As always, the show is free at burnbarrelpodcast.com and anywhere you like to listen to podcasts.